Welcome back for day 27 of my 31 Days of Halloween series. In honor of the second season premiere of Stranger Things, I thought I'd do a two-part tutorial on Barb. Product details and all that fun stuff will be in the video description below. Let's get started. The first step you're going to want to do is prime your face before grabbing your lightest foundation and buffing that into your skin. Then I decided to use a cream concealer, and I'm just applying that underneath my eyes, on my chin, and on the sides of my nose to hide any redness. However, Barb is a teenager, so if you've got a pimple or two, let those suckers shine. Be sure to powder your face well before we move on to a little bit of contour. I used a lighter contour color and applied that to my temples and my cheekbones. I'm then taking a peachy blush and adding that to the apples of my cheeks to give myself a youthful look. I started creating all of her freckles using these two products. However, I didn't like the look of them, so I decided to use body paint instead. You're going to want to use a light and dark brown body paint to create these. And I'm just taking each color on a really tiny detail brush and dotting those on. If the freckles are a little too harsh, before the paint is dry, you can tap it out a bit. I also decided to show you that you can create freckles using different colors of concealers as well. Just be sure if you use concealer, don't forget to powder it so they don't slip and slide. For the brows, I'm going in with this light orangey shade and running that through my brows with an angled brush. For Barb's eyeshadow, I decided to go with blues just to make a nice contrast with my red hair. Just to define my eyes a little bit better, I took a brown gel liner and applied that thinly to my eyes and smudged it out. I then decided to take a dark taupe color and dust that along my lower lash line. Another trick for blending out eyeshadow is to use a clean brush. That way, you're not adding product, you're just blending it. Give yourself 1 or 2 coats of mascara on all of your lashes. I then decided to grab the same contour color we used and just apply some around my nose and under my lip. I'm then taking a nude lip liner and applying that all over my lips. Before taking a nude and peach lipstick and applying that on top. I then decided there wasn't enough blush, so I took this peachy pink blush and applied that on my cheeks as well as on my nose to give a nice flush to her face. And then I added a fourth lip product and only applied that to the center of my really chapped lips. Then to start pinning her wardrobe, I took a peachy cream body paint color and mixed it with a little bit of orange and pink to give it that nice coral tone. So I'm just painting on the general shape of her top before going in with all the details. So first I decided to map out where her bow is on her shirt, and I also gave that a little bit of highlight as I went along, just so I could better define where it was. And then I went in to start highlighting the collar part of her top to start giving it that definition. We'll be coming back to her top to shade it and all that in a bit. So moving on to painting her jacket, you're going to want to grab some very vibrant blue as well as some light blue body paint. Of course, grab some reference photos and really see where the highlights and contours are on her jacket. Once you have the general painting of her jacket done, you can grab some black mixed with some blue body paint and start figuring out where all the markings and contours are on her jacket. One of my favorite things to paint on this piece of clothing was definitely the part up by her collar. Another little detail you might not have noticed about her clothing is the little cushiony bits in between her collar and her shoulder piece. So don't forget to add that design. I'm loosely creating the squares on that part so that it looks a little bit more realistic. We'll be highlighting this later to make it look more 3D. I'm then taking some lighter blue body paint and creating the little attachments on her jacket. And then you're going to want to take that light blue body paint mixed with a little bit of white and start adding your highlights everywhere. So first I went in with the cushiony parts, and then once you're done doing your general highlighting, you're going to want to take straight white body paint and create even more of a highlight on top. The more variants of color you add on top, the more realistic it's gonna look. Sometimes when I'm highlighting like this, I like to imagine I'm creating one of those geographical maps. However, I decided to go with a sort of pop art type style for her clothing, just because I thought it'd be a little bit more fun to play around with and make it more comic book style. So of course, as you see, the final step is grabbing some black body paint and creating all the outlines and shading. Now it's time to enter the upside down. To create the gash on Barb's face, I decided to heat up some special effects gelatin. Make sure when you heat it up, you take the lid off, of course, and heat it only for about 10 seconds maximum in the microwave. And like I said in my Tooth Fairy tutorial, make sure you do a patch test before you put this on your face, just to check the temperature. You can powder this a little bit if you want, just to remove some of the stickiness, but I liked how shiny it was, so I left it. I then grabbed a plum lip liner and roughly applied that to my lips, as if I was a little bit oxygen deprived. Then you can grab a tissue and start messing up your makeup. Using the same brush I used for my body painting, I used a lot of water and made it look like I had mascara streaks on my face. Then taking an alcohol activated paint palette, activating it with 99% isopropyl alcohol. I'm using various tones to create the very distressed look she has on her face. So I'm using pretty much every color under the sun. Greens, purples, blues, reds. There's not a whole lot I can say about this, it's just more so learned by doing. So you're just gonna be messing up the face and making it look very splotchy. I even added some blue tones around the lips just to make them look even worse, but don't consume the 99% alcohol because that's not fun. A better option for around your lips and eyes would be rubber matte grease paints or any eyeshadows you may have. For the chunk taken off of her face, I first went in with a wash of red alcohol-activated paints before starting to use darker colors and start to deepen it. You can also use both vein and bruise tones to make it even more disgusting looking. Then for her body, I decided to create these gurneys made out of liquid latex. So you're just going to stipple latex either onto a glass or a plastic surface. Maybe do 2 to 3 layers on each one. Of course, make sure they're dry before you powder both sides of it and peel it off your surface. And for the final touch, you're going to want to make her look very slimy using some special effects gel or KY jelly. And I also added a little bit more gelatin on top. For the slug coming out of her mouth, you can make that with Model Magic and paint it with alcohol paints. And there you have it. You've become the forgotten one. See you guys tomorrow.